Make no mistake, our nation is still threatened by terrorists. From Benghazi to Boston, we have been tragically reminded of that truth.
I'm Rockman Johnson. Thanks for joining the conversation. This is Bounce News at 7. And from the use of drones to cloning, and the terrorist detention facility in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, President Obama addressed some of the hot-button issues in a speech at the National Defense University. Elizabeth Cordian takes a look at Mr. Obama's defense stance and next steps.
President Obama went to great lengths to explain America's use of unmanned drones to strike down suspected terrorists in other countries.
America does not take strikes when we have the ability to capture individual terrorists. Our preference is always to detain, interrogate, and prosecute them.
His speech on counterterrorism comes on the heels of an admission that U.S. drone strikes have killed 4 Americans overseas. Only one, Anwar al-Awlaki, was deliberately targeted, officials say.
The decision to use force against individuals or groups, even against a sworn enemy of the United States, is the hardest thing I do as president.
Obama said drone strikes are a necessary part of U.S. counterterrorism strategy, but says there's a need for more transparency and oversight.
For the same progress that gives us the technology to strike half a world away also demands the discipline to constrain that power or risk abusing it.
The president said that while al-Qaeda has been weakened, new threats to U.S. security are emerging.
From Benghazi to Boston, we have been tragically reminded of that truth. With a decade of experience now to draw from, this is the moment to ask ourselves hard questions about the nature of today's threats and how we should confront them.
Obama reiterated his desire to shut down the Guantanamo Bay prison facility, where some accused of anti-U.S. terrorist acts have been held for years without trial.
Imagine a future 10 years from now, or 20 years from now, when the United States of America is still holding people who have been charged with no crime on a piece of land that is not part of our country.
He's calling on Congress to lift prisoner transfer restrictions and commit to a closure process. I'm Elizabeth Corridan reporting.